Okay? 10 gil. It's not even fucking anything. 500 gil isn't even. How much is a potion?
Like maybe 200.
Folks, welcome to Who's Remain.
Oh.
I'm Jared, and this is the other
I'm
guy.
Anthony.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. The other guy.
Now we're going to fight, folks.
I'm the talent. How dare you?
Today we're talking about Final Fantasy VII. We wanted this to be like a big deep dive. We were going to go video essay on you, but decided not to.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Don't ask what happened. We'll cry.
Yeah.
Well,
that's it. No, I'm not adding I'm not adding anything else to that because I will.
I'm fucking not going to talk about. So I don't know. We want to give this game its flowers in a way. This is I'm saying Anthony's lines. Anthony, you say my lines.
Yeah. Okay. So at the beginning of Pokemon, Ganondorf rides his horse over the hill, and he's like, "I'm the hero."
I fucking kill you.
Oh no! Wait, wrong episode.
Listen to me, Final Fantasy VII. Okay.
Oh,
that's what we're talking about. I just finished playing the OG for the OGth 100th time. We were doing a ton of prep. We were going to go into all the details.
Yeah. Here's how deep we went, chat. I found my original save. I'm talking like the 1997 save. And I was bringing it up to the PlayStation 3 to have a digital copy of that save. That's how in deep we were. And now you get this. You get this.
Well, basically, we're just going to beat around the bush about Final Fantasy VII for hours. Yeah. This was my first Final Fantasy game. Did you know that?
It was also my first.
Was it your first? You know what they say about your first?
What are we allowed to say on the podcast?
Anything we want. It's our fucking podcast, okay?
Okay. Well, I'm gonna choose to keep it PG-13 and say that I'll tell this little anecdotal story because I think this is where we're at in this. I remember this is a Kmart. Keep in mind, I'm walking down the aisle of the electronics section in a Kmart, and I see the box art for Final Fantasy VII. I didn't have any kind of like commercials. Or I think I might have had a magazine where I like saw pictures of the cast and I was like, oh, those guys look cool. But I saw it in the case and it was the greatest hits version that, this means that it had already sold 1 million copies and now it's on sale for $19.99 or whatever. And I was like, oh, that looks sick. I'm picking that up. And I went home and played it and it changed my life. It's my favorite game of all time.
That's crazy that you got it in the greatest hit. Folks, he and I went to the same high school and ran in similar groups, but not the same ones. It wasn't a big high school, but it was not a small high school. And there were several generations of us in between each other here. So I talked to my older brother about this the other day. I asked him, I said, do you remember when you got Final Fantasy VII and you came home with it for us? And he was like, no. And I was like, you son of a bitch. Well, I don't remember. It's the best game ever. And he was like, I don't remember.
Yeah. Again, I've talked about this before. You and I are the librarians of our families where we hoard this stuff and we're just like, look, remember, how can you not remember this? And then we show it to our family members and they're just like, oh, cool. That's neat. And we're like, neat, you son of a bitch. I've been holding on to this thing for 10 years.
Dude, he still has the original copy and the original PlayStation. Technically, I guess it was his.
Yeah.
Well, I remember that he and my dad, for some reason, went to like Sears or something for some shit. And then here comes my older brother home with a PlayStation and Final Fantasy VII. And so he did kind of remember because I was like, why the fuck did you buy Final Fantasy VII? Like, we didn't play RPGs. I didn't know what an RPG was. I was like, okay, man, why did you buy that? He was like, well, I think everybody at school was playing it, and that's why I got it. And I was like, well, I guess that's good enough for me. So on a recommendation from our fellow classmates. That's how we ended up with Final Fantasy VII. It's kind of a, I guess, boring story. I expected him to remember better because I fucking suck at remembering real life stuff.
No.
Well, so we booted that fucker up, right? And we start playing it. And we're playing it for a while. For some reason, my save file became like the main one. But I have to tell this short story first to get it out of the way. I think I've told it before, but there's a scene in the Mithril Mine as you're crossing from the Chocobo Ranch to Fort Condor, and you meet with the Turks. I'm not going to explain stuff here right now, but the Turks got a theme song. It's and they like snapping the fingers or whatever. And my mom came in with this like big fucking laundry basket of fucking socks, and she slams it down. She's like, you guys need to sort these socks. And me and my 3 brothers, there's 4 of us, we're like, oh shit. So we put the fucking controller down in the middle of the cutscene when the Turks are talking to you. And then as we're folding the socks, we get to so I don't remember who started singing, but they started going, I found a pair. I found a pair. I found a pair. We kept doing that for, it felt like hours. We were sorting socks for hours.
It's amazing. I think this game more than anything else, because I mean, this is how games go when you have siblings. Is you'll be playing a game and you've got the door open and your sibling will walk by the door. They'll be like, oh, what are you playing? Poke their head in and just kind of watch. I think this game more than anything is the game where a sibling would poke their head in. Be like, oh, what's that? And then they watch you play for a little bit, and then you go and do something else, and you come back, and they're sitting there playing the game, and they've started a new save, and now they've got their own save, and they're addicted to it as well.
I just want to say that we're having a little bit of technical difficulties tonight, folks. So Anthony going robotic on us for a little bit.
Oh,
son of a bitch! The universe is
Good.
trying to stop us from telling you our Final Fantasy VII love. We want to give this game its flowers, like you said.
No.
First of all, if you've never played Final Fantasy VII, we're going to spoil the fuck out of it as we're talking. And we don't know when. We're going to structure the episode. At some point, we're going to talk about each part of the story. But to start out, I got to say that I never played a Final Fantasy game before this one, but I've gone back and played the other ones. I think we were talking about how on the PlayStation, after the success of Final Fantasy VII, they came out with the anthology and what was the other one called? Like the Chronicles. Because it had Chrono Trigger on that one, which is important.
Yes.
That's very important that Chrono Trigger was on that because it was the game that they were working on before they made Final Fantasy VII. So they were like, please play this one. We got Yuji Hori. I don't know how to say his name. I realize I say that guy's name wrong all the time. He's like the main guy for Dragon Quest. And I always call him Yuji Hora. And it's Hori, I believe.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. Okay, there is a bunch of information, though, that we'll probably link in this description of all the stuff that we were like, oh, we're going to do this. But
yeah, we did our homework and we had this whole thing drawn up and it's gone forever, lost to the ether of time. I think the anecdote that I want to talk about, since you got one in, I want to get one in. You had found out that they essentially kind of had the idea for this game. They wanted to do this big, long cinematic experience, kind of had the rough outline of characters and what they wanted to do. And then they needed to go back and work on these other projects, and some of those ideas got pulled to other things. The thing that was fascinating to me was the idea that, you know, the city was based around New York, and that's where all of the kind of pizza themes and all of that stuff came from. You found out that, you know, they had this character named Detective Joe who, you know, it was supposed to be in New York City, and he's kind of doing a detective work about this bombing that happened. And then all of that stuff kind of got folded into Parasite Eve, which is a game that I'm very passionate about. I love those games, kind of that survival horror / you know, just horror game that Parasite Eve is. It's very difficult to explain what Parasite Eve is if you've never played it. I highly recommend it. Those games are very fun. But I just remember doing the research for this project and thinking that stood out to me as like, oh, that's really cool that they took ideas from Final Fantasy VII and kind of folded those back into these other games.
I was so excited about this. Is the dumb anecdote that I was excited about because the whole New York thing and pizza was so fucking popular at the time, like Ninja Turtles and shit, you know, and like, and so Midgar is in the shape of a fucking pizza. And one of the best songs in the slums in Sector 5 is Rotting Under the Big Pizza. I love that fucking song. And then the mayor of Midgar, his name is Domino, and his fucking buddy's name is Hut. So Domino Pizza and fucking Pizza Hut.
Pizza Hut.
I was like, fucking, there's too much pizza here. Okay.
Yeah.
Fucking New York, though. I get it. But the Parasite Eve thing I think is really interesting because, like, what? Like, obviously, some of that stuff got worked into Final Fantasy VII with Genova. You know, some of the body horror that they wanted to do that got sloughed off, if that's a fucking good term. Okay, Parasite Eve is fucked. Okay, this is an episode about Final Fantasy VII, but that we had that game too. And it was scary. It was because it was a Square Enix game. But some of the ideas also got worked into Final Fantasy VIII, which I think are cool. Even whatever the name of the witch is, I think her design had already been made for Final Fantasy VII, and they reused it in 8. I saw that in one of the interviews. I don't know. Somewhere it's there, Leo.
Yeah.
There's your Ninja fucking Turtles reference. you I don't know.
I don't remember if we said this during a stream or if we did it on one of the podcasts. My goal, once this season of the podcast is over, I'm going to go back and make a list of all of the references that we make. And I'm just going to do like a speed run of every reference we make, what it's from, and just a 1-second clip of that of that scene in the movie or game or whatever it is that we are referencing.
We didn't even say, folks, we're 10 minutes in and we didn't even say, I don't even know, we're probably more than 10 minutes in. I fucking always forget to start the timer until like 5 minutes in or something. We forgot to say that this is technically the season finale. The final.
Yeah. See ya.
Yeah.
See ya.
We're never making another fucking season after this because of this bullshit episode. Well, yeah. When I was replaying Final Fantasy VII, man, I fucking love that game, and you love that game. We love this game, folks. And oh man, that first like fucking cutscene, man. You load it up and it's like going through the stars and shit, and then like you see Aerith's face. We have to talk about this fucking FMV, like, and how seamlessly it like fucking just goes right into the action, and then Cloud flips off the fucking train. And then they're like, da, 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 and then then you're just thrown into a fight, you know? Man, it gets me every time.
This is by far one of the greatest openings to an RPG ever. And it literally is an action movie, you know? Like you said, you have this big scrolling shot, and you're like, is this a movie? You know, obviously now it looks rather dated because of the FMV and stuff like that. But you had the mods on there and made it look almost on par with the PlayStation 4 version, you know, of playing with the updated graphics. And so to me, I'm sitting here watching this game, and I'm right back to when I was a little kid. And you're right, it's an action movie. Cloud flips off of the train, you get into a fight immediately, and then you level up, and it's like, this is perfect. This is the best way ever to get right into a game. I'm hooked instantly.
They give you enough guys to whack one, hit the other guy with the bolt spell, because he starts. See, and here's the other thing, is I know the translation was bad. There's a lot of fucking like back and forth about names and all that stuff. I'm fucking not going to talk about that. But what I am going to talk about is how I missed Bolt 1, Bolt 2, Bolt 3. Thunder and Thundaga and Thundara, I don't like that.
Yeah.
It's not fucking thunder. That's lightning.
Yeah.
Can we call it lightning at least? Lightning Ara, Lightning Aga?
No.
Boltaga. No, fucking thunder. That's sonic damage. I play D&D. I'm getting mad about the wrong part of the...
Yeah. Well, you know who to blame for that. It's Donald Duck. The greatest mage in Final Fantasy history.
I'm gonna strangle that fucking duck.
Thanks,
I will
Kingdom
fucking
Hearts.
strangle him.
Well, and here's the other thing I'll say. I think the first beat of the story, the bombing run, I think it's one of the greatest opening story beats in not just RPG history, I think in storytelling, where you immediately get to know the characters in the play. You meet Cloud, you meet Barrett, you meet Biggs, Jess, and Wedge. You instantly know who these characters are because they're so animated. You know, Barrett's shaking his fist and we got to take Shinra down. I hate these MFers. You know, he's swearing all over the place. Obviously, it's bleeped out in the game, but he's shaking and swearing. And Cloud's kind of got that little aloof stance, and he flips his hair. And then Biggs, Jess, and Wes, and Biggs, Jess, and Wedge. Gosh dang, I'm getting their names all mixed up because I'm getting excited. They're just like oh wow, they're in total awe of this ex-soldier, and you run in, you plant the bomb, and you get the first scene of Cloud having this like PTSD episode. Barrett's just like, "You good, man? Like, what the heck happened?" And Cloud's just like, "Yeah, don't worry about it. Let's go." And then you're instantly in a boss fight, and it's like, it's been 20 seconds. Well, it's obviously not a real boss fight, but you get the big giant scorpion, and it's like, man, this game is awesome. Like right out the gate, you know exactly what this game is.
As a kid, like, what the fuck? Like Cloud walks in and he's like, my hand, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with him? Can you explain? No. Also, we're not going to explain. And also, here's a scorpion tank.
Well, what?
Wait a minute. Oh shit! Don't attack with the tails up, Cloud! Shut the fuck up, man! You got a gun for an arm! I got a stupid fucking piece of metal. Dude, I was watching a video about this, about how seamless the FMVs, you know how they had like you could run around during like some of the moving cutscenes? Because what they had done is they had like taken a picture essentially of the scene that they wanted to do, and then just put the 3D, map on it. And they wanted to make it so it would be cinematic and move around. Well, obviously on Steam or modern television and stuff, it's fucking very apparent when certain things happen. But dude, talking about playing it on original hardware, it should also, which I think that you mean this in your intent when you say this stuff, but also the TV matters, folks, that you're playing on. Like, it'll blend that shit, and that's why it looked better in your fucking child mind if you played this game as a kid. And if you didn't, and you look at it now, you're like, damn, that's hurting my eyeballs. It didn't hurt our eyeballs then. It looked fucking sick. Man, I just can't. You fucking went from fucking 2D graphics, flat guys, isometric view, to fucking cinematic cameras moving all around. Of course, this was the time period where everybody was trying to figure out what to do with the fucking camera in games. And I think they just did so good. Replaying it recently, it's just incredible. And I know people complain about the fucking mini games, but I like the fucking mini games in fucking Final Fantasy VII, man. They're so fun to me. I'm like, oh boy, we're at that scene at the beach where that girl fucking just drowned with the dolphin, and you got to do the.
You're doing CPR on her.
Yeah, what a weird fucking like. Also to like have a CPR scene in a game, and like kids are like, oh yeah, well, like this is serious. We gotta do CPR. What the fuck's CPR? He's just Cloud's just blowing into her. Hope you don't die.
I make this joke all the time about. I think this game does better than anything else. I'm talking in all of storytelling. It has the highest highs and the lowest lows, but the journey of getting to those story beats are all of these little roller coaster moments of, maybe there's something that's scary that happens. But then that's always met by something that's fun, or maybe there's something that's sad happens. That's always met by, again, something that's exciting. you're always given something new to do, and it's almost like the game is pushing you forward and being like, I know that stuff happened back there. Just follow me to the end. Follow me to these big roller coaster story beat moments, and I'll get you there. Our momentum will get us there, even though the storytelling is a little jarring. And I'm trying to make this sound as good as I can without giving spoilers. We are going to spoil this game eventually, but I love that, man. Like you said, I love the mini games. I love how silly this game allows itself to be, alongside of also being one of the greatest tragedies and dramas ever.
Yeah, one of the major things that the game's known for is the unreliable narrator. It predates some of the more famous cinema movies that have that: Fight Club, Memento, Sixth Sense, by years. And it's crazy. And I'm not even saying like by years in Japan, like by years it was released in Japan, and then they fucking translated it, and then they made the international version, and then they released it in America and in other English speaking countries, in other countries. But the reason I'm pointing out America is because fucking Hollywood. So who played Final Fantasy VII? Okay, but it was inspired by other pieces of media, like Blade Runner. No doubt, it's got to be, because it's got the cyberpunk, man. It's so fucking sick. It's got guns and swords. Like, fuck yeah.
I think to me that's maybe what sold me on it the most, is that the setting is just so unique to all Final Fantasies prior to that. You know what I mean? I've been very open about the fact that while I don't hate, fantasy or high fantasy or anything like that, I much prefer that kind of retro future style. I would much rather watch a show about Gundam than I would, like something alternative to that. But this had that perfect blend of, it could have very easily been set in medieval times. It also could have very easily been set in the future. The story carries that, and then the world around it almost just makes that even better. Everything feels so viscerally real, where you have the poorest people you've ever seen in your life who are living in squalor, and they can barely afford food and water, and they're literally surviving off of alcohol. And then you take a train car up to a giant amusement park that's made out of gold, and people are running around having fun, and it's the happiest place on earth. I mean, that's just such this dystopian future that I love. I love that kind of world, that kind of environment, and they did such a good job of making you feel that. Obviously you talked about it with Midgar. I think that's one of the greatest settings to start a game of all time, where you kind of get that sense of we are literally in the slums looking up at the rich, and the rich are living above us, and they've blocked out the sun, and then we have to live under them, literally and metaphorically.
The juxtaposition, the dichotomy. I can't say words. But like the two, both of those two locations, Midgar in the slums, I think is really, really profound in both of those areas. And then over at the Gold Saucer in Mount Coral. That's Coral, right? Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Corel, yeah.
Or Corel or something like that.
That scene in the mining village, the destroyed mining village. By the way, this is where Barrett's kind of from.
Mm-hmm.
Like, seeing that place is a fucking shithole, dude. Like, it is a fucking shithole. And like you said, you ride the fucking tram up to the Gold Saucer, to the Green Saucer. Who gives a shit? You already knew I was going to make that fucking joke. Baby!
Yeah. Set it up on the tee, and you just knocked it out of the park.
But man, the first 4 hours of the fucking game, dude, are so fucking incredible. Like, I wanted that to last for 40, 50 hours. Of course, we're in the modern area. We know what happens and what they do. We're not here to talk about the remake and the rebirth, though. But the first 4 hours are fucking awesome. It's like you just want to keep pushing. You just want to keep playing. It's like reading the best book ever. And the combat system is so fucking cool, dude. Prior Final Fantasy games, they had the class system where you had like paladins, you had ninjas, you had white mages, black mages, and only the mages could cast spells. And then some of the melee guys could cast spells, but not the stronger ones. And then you had just like the fighter guys who were just strikers, where you just hit attack on them. They had no abilities. Most of the time they had nothing. Just get new weapons and hit them. And this game's like, threw all that shit out the fucking window. They gave everybody a stat block. They gave them all their own weapon types, which is really cool. It gives them their uniqueness. Their own. This is where limit breaks come in. And then the fucking materia system, bro. The fucking marbles, man. Dude, that shit was so fucking cool as a kid. The play, the creativity with each character, how you could take anybody any which way you wanted. Dude. Fucking.
To this day, that's some of the most fun I've ever had, is experimenting with the materia. And obviously now we have the internet. It's much more prevalent than it was back then. I get that. But as a kid, putting the materia in different slots, mixing and matching, and being like, oh my gosh, I just found out that I can combine this, and now all of a sudden I'm doing counterattacks and I'm doing way more damage. And now this character that I thought wasn't very good, now they're the best character on my team. And not only that, but I can switch it off of them and put it on anybody that I want. And so you have this huge cast of characters who are all interesting and unique, and you can build them however you want them to be. They're literally, we talk about all the time about your headcanon, your fandom, all of that stuff. That's what this game was. That was the first iteration of you do it. Rule of cool, make them whatever you want them to be. You want Cloud to be a big hitter quitter with his sword? Do it. You want him to be a caster and he's casting the best spells in the game? Do it. He can do both. And that just blew my mind that there was all this freedom and you could literally make these characters into whoever you wanted them to be. And then on top of that, they also have these incredibly bubbly characters, characteristics that make them likable, and you care about them and you want to find out about them. And then when you do, they're all the saddest stories you've ever heard, and it breaks your heart every time that you play the game.
Dude, every single character, there's not one character in that game that you're like, yeah, they're pretty normal. They're all like, holy shit. Bro.
By the end of the game, you care about the Turks.
I know.
You're invested in who are supposed to be the bad guys. You're invested in their story as well. And it's like, what the heck is going on? We're just rallying everybody to the cause of trying to take down Genova and Sephiroth.
Going back to the class system, two things I wanted to say was, man, did Square Enix know what the fuck they were doing? Final Fantasy VII and fucking Final Fantasy Tactics. These were like the two most creative do it games ever, man. I'm pulling Tactics in a little bit, but it's just incredible. The recent playthrough that I did with Tifa, I used Tifa and Barrett like through most of the game because it was like, I'm using the canon characters or whatever. Of course, I think I could probably go through it a couple times and do like I did with Baldur's Gate and be like, okay, you want to have these guys at this scene and you want to have these guys at this scene. Because they do say different stuff. It adds to the replayability. But I remember looking at Tifa's stat block, and I never really looked at these characters before. I'm always just like racing straight to like the fucking enemy skill and the enemy skill materia and then like good summons, especially if I can get to Knights of the Round. This playthrough I did, but I cheesed it a little bit. I'm not talking about that for a second. But you remember what I was telling you? It was like one day I was like, man, Tifa fucking sucks in this game. I didn't know that. And then the next day I was like, dude, she's beating so much ass, I can't stop her.
Exactly, yeah.
If I can remember that.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my God, dude. I was like, dude, her stats are fucking dog shit. And then you get the power soul and counterattack and death blow, and then she's just like, bam, bam, stay down, bam. And you're like, holy shit, Tifa, you're killing the boss by yourself.
This is our jam. We very recently just finished playing Baldur's Gate, and I'm the type of person, I don't want to play 10 levels of Warlock. I want to play 2 levels of Warlock and then 3 levels of Fighter, 3 levels of Rogue, and 4 levels of Sorcerer. I want to build my own. I want to make it exactly how I want it so that everything that I'm doing is focused and doing the thing that I want. And this game lets you do that. And it's like you said, you're sitting there looking at a character and you're like, oh man, this character is not very good. And then you push a little further and all of a sudden, now they're crazy. They're one of the best characters in the game on your party. And it's because you've tweaked one little thing, or you've moved some material around, or you've leveled them up a little bit, and now they're on the same page as everybody else in the team. This game is insane when it comes to the combat, and you just want to keep fighting. You just want to keep experimenting and leveling up and getting more stuff.
The addiction to the AP grind, it was so hard to avoid this recent playthrough. I ended up resorting to a couple of mods that actually really bring up the game into kind of a more modern, faster, respect your time a little bit more feeling, with like the in combat PHS mod and the XP share mod and the AP share mod. Like those were incredible to add, because it really, and then you could switch people out during combat, and that felt so fucking cool. Like that doesn't come around until Final Fantasy X, where you can swap people out. Yeah. Man, that was fucking made that playthrough so much better, so much more fun. Of course, don't get me wrong, I could play this fucking shit vanilla with the shittiest graphics. It's 4x3 without the mods, and so like a little mind blowing to see it in widescreen and sharpened graphics. You remember we were talking about that? We were like, damn, look at how fucking nice this looks. Whew.
Yeah, you put some AI upscaling mods on there, and it looked incredible. I mean, I have the PS4 version of the game, the digital version of the game, and it looks nothing like what you had on your rig playing through. I also have the Steam version and all of that stuff. Without mods, the game looks dated. I mean, objectively, because it's not meant to be played on a HD screen. It's meant to be played on the old 4x3, realistically composite or component. I always get those two mixed up. Cables, and it's supposed to look blurry because that's how the colors get blended together. You had talked about the very stark look of Red 13 and how, with mods, without mods, whether he looks good or not, the flame on his tail is almost like supposed to be blurred together. That's how they achieved that look of having a fire effect was by literally having like screen dithering and pixelation effects happening. And it's like, oh wow, his tail's on fire. And it's like, yeah, the game is just literally glitching out in the original game. And it's like, wow, the graphics look so good here. Now obviously we have better stuff, and it looks much better when you added those mods. But yeah, that was cracking me up. Dude,
fucking Red 13. I had a little bit of trouble with the mods and his tail looking really fucking blocky, and I realized how well they handled the lighting and the construction of his tail to make it look smooth and flowing. I love that character. I love Red 13. What a complex, crazy little beast he is. Of course, we got all kinds of fucking memes between me and Anthony about that. We're doing the chess piece. That's from that one movie, Wolf of Wall Street. But then we bastardized it and turned it into a fucking chess piece for Red 13. He's so fucking cool though, dude. I love his scenes. Damn. We're kind of at the point where we need to start spoiling stuff. We're 30 minutes in, folks. This is gonna go for another 40 minutes here, 50 minutes
easily.
So I'm gonna talk about Red 13 because I really love this character. So the playthrough prior to the one I just did, if you remember, I used exclusively Red 13 and Kate Sith on the team, which is or Cat She, by the way. Kate She means cat fairy in Gaelic or whatever that language is. It's an old Scottish thing. We got to mention that. But I just read a thread today. I read a thread about Tifa sucking today, in the original game on the Reddit forums, which I
Okay.
thought was really funny because it was like, I just did that. I just came to that realization. I'm like almost 40, and I'm sitting here. I was like, I've never really fucking tried to analyze the characters or to make specific builds. I've always just run straight to fucking enemy skill and Knights of the Round. And I was like, I'm making these builds. I'm looking at their stats. I'm like, man, this guy fucking sucks. And then Cat She is the most confusing character. It has a shit ton of HP, and then kind of a shitty attack stat and a shitty magic attack stat. So, like, how do you fucking build him? I don't know. They were talking about that in the thread, and I'd come to my own conclusion where I turned him into kind of a tank that used cover and then used enemy skill for damage, and then just try to get his fucking limit break because the slots were busted. Like, fucking slots, let's fucking roll them. And then in the slots, you can accidentally kill your whole party.
Yeah.
So save off it if you're using him.
Yeah. I love that. And this is a really good example of, obviously we all care about the characters, but who's your main? This is an opportunity where you can kind of branch off. I think everybody relates to Cloud. I think everybody relates to Cloud, Zach, and Tifa, and Aerith, and all of that stuff, and Barrett, obviously. Those are kind of the main characters of the game. But like you gravitating towards Red 13 or me gravitating towards Yuffie, where it's like those are us. Those are us personified as characters. That's every character we've ever played when we get to make our own, fantasy RPG or role-playing game or whatever. That's us. Like Yuffie trying to steal everybody else's materia and like shadow boxing, and she tries to act tough, and then as soon as like anything bad happens, she's like, I'm scared, run away. It's just the funniest stuff. And you don't see that stuff if you don't play with everybody. And then, like you said, you kind of put those characters into your party, and it's like, okay, now I've got them. Who can I put opposite of them to accentuate what they do well and build a well-rounded party? It's just so insane to me how deep this game goes.
Who was your main guys when you were a kid? And then give me like who you would use in a playthrough now. Who would be your three?
I think now. Well, I'm spoiled.
You can take Cloud out if you want to take Cloud out just for the sake of taking him out.
I was getting ready to say I think now I would take Cloud out, and man, that's tough. I know back in the day it was I was very, very straightforward. I did Cloud, Tifa, and Yuffie, and I might stay with that, honestly. I might throw Vincent in there in place of Tifa. I don't know though. I really fell in love with that idea of Barrett being kind of like a paladin character who is like a tank plus, kind of like a buffer character. It's just so hard. I love all the characters. Yeah, if I had to choose today, I think I would do like Tifa. I would do Tifa, Yuffie, and Cloud.
And hell, obviously it doesn't have to be your main party, but I would fucking probably do Vincent, Cat She, and Nanaki. Those would be my boys. Vincent, because he's Final Fantasy VII's Berserker, and I love fucking Berserker classes. He's also Final Fantasy VII's Morpher, which I like that. I like that a lot. I like when they turn into monsters. Fucking love monsters. Red 13, also known as Nanaki. He is a monster. He's a fucking beast. Yeah, and he's a cat. Obviously, I like fire. That's cool. Very cool. And then Cat She, because another cat. So 2 cats in a fucking monster man. That's cool. You were talking about Barrett, and one of my favorite things that I did in this playthrough was I attached the destruct materia to added effect so that his gun had a chance to insta-kill people, which I thought was so fucking accurate for the weapon, right?
Yeah.
It was so fun. I had cover and HP pluses on him, and then just enemy skill, and then I would exclusively just use like White Wind, Big Guard, or what's it called? Mighty Guard, and then
yeah,
and then Matra Magic, because it shoots the missiles. So it's like it looks like his abilities, That was fucking cool, man. I was like, oh, he's so fucking cool. Dude, he was like guarding the whole team the whole time. I had Tifa like always like really low HP, so that weapon that she had would like get quadra damage. And then she would just fucking put added cut onto death blow. So if she missed a death blow, which is an automatic crit, if she missed that, then she would still fucking attack him. But if she hit both, there was a chance that she could double crit for 8,000 fucking damage when we were like halfway, not even halfway through the game. It's like, bam, bam! Oh, Jesus fucking Christ! There's nothing left for Cloud to do. Because he's like the all-rounder, man. Like, he can do everything. So I had him doing magic for a good portion of the game because I didn't have a caster on the team, which I usually regulate to Red 13 for a while. Nanaki. It's revealed when you get to his town that his name is Nanaki. One of the things that I thought was really interesting was there's a lot of like Star Wars stuff that always comes up in video games, especially with like, I feel like Final Fantasy in general. And so Biggs and Wedge are in Star Wars, obviously. But that fucking anecdote that I found about Nanaki's name. So Red 13's real name is Nanaki. If you've not played the game, you're in for it now. You're in for a penny, in for a pound here. We're 40 minutes in. His name, Nana and Ki, the kanji or whatever for each of those apparently mean red and then hope, which is a big theme for the game. Now this is rough translation stuff. I don't remember exactly, hit the Google, but they also chose that name because it's an anagram for Anakin. Fucking Skywalker, bro. I was like ready to strangle him. I hate you now, Red 13. I fucking hate you.
That's really funny that your favorite character has a secret Star Wars like tidbit.
Me killing myself.
I think the one that hit me, and this was obviously a while ago, but when Akira Toriyama passed away, obviously everybody is sending out their condolences and all of that, and the main heavy hitters, the producers of this game, the developers of this game, they all kind of did a unified post commemorating him, and they showed a picture of Cloud. And, you know, Cloud is obviously a blonde-haired guy with spiky hair, and he's got the soldier uniform on. And then it had a picture of him and Super Saiyan 2 Gohan side by side shaking hands. And it was like, oh my gosh, it was there the entire time. Cloud is Gohan. And I was just like, that's awesome that the Final Fantasy team is kind of like handshaking and commemorating one of the greatest artists of all time who passed away. But like it was there the entire time, and we were looking right at it. He's got the purple uniform, he's got the spiky hair, he's got the pointy shoes that Piccolo wears. I was like, oh my gosh, how did we not see that?
The fucking colors, I'd never even thought about that.
Yeah,
I'm so sad that in the recent iterations they moved Cloud to more a darker toned, muted tones. I really liked the purple and the yellow. I just loved that look. It was so iconic, and they muted the fuck out of it. I wish they'd go back. But speaking of like Cloud in general, we haven't even talked about Sephiroth. And one of the cool things that we're talking about anecdotes now. This is an anecdote session.
Yeah,
is the fucking Musashi versus Kojiro. Okay, where Cloud's like jumping down towards Sephiroth, and that's supposed to show that. I mean, not supposed to. It's referencing it really hard because Musashi actually killed Kojiro with a wooden oar carved into a sword shape, a big fucking piece of wood. So Cloud's big fucking honking sword is a reference to that a bit. But the main one was how much they wanted it to be yin yang at the time. And so Cloud was supposed to have short black hair to Sephiroth's long white hair. They wanted to do that to save on polygons or something for his hair. But they ended up using that for Zack later, which I thought Zack was so cool in the original game. Like, you don't find out about that shit until way fucking late in the game. And you're like, whoa, who the fuck is he? What the fuck is this about? This is crazy. That's not Cloud's sword. Cloud's not fucking a soldier. What the hell?
We talked about this earlier about him being an unreliable narrator. I remember distinctly as a kid every single one of these revelations in the story and just being like awestruck and being like, what? He's not a soldier. That's not his, like everything that you just said. It was the most like, whoa, but he's on the cover. He's on the cover with a sword. Like that's him. And it's like, no, these are all of his repressed memories, all of these repressed emotions, his PTSD, flaring up of him wanting to be Zack. He wants to be like Zack because Zack that was his dream, and, Cloud leaving to go be a child soldier at 14, that's awful. We found that out in this playthrough where it's like, he doesn't even become a proper like soldier in the army until he's 16. What an awful thing. What an awful world to live in where you're like, man, I want to go to war at 14 and that's your hope and aspirations. But you're exactly right. It's like all of these things about Cloud are Zack. And all of the things that make Cloud, good are Zack. And now obviously his snarky attitude and all of his, frankly, shittiness comes from Sephiroth, him emulating Sephiroth. But it's like the Zack character, and you kind of see it through Aerith's eyes as well. That's the character that we fell in love with, really, who Cloud personifies. And so through the eyes of Cloud and Aerith, you feel like he was a part of the team the entire time, even though obviously we don't find out about him until essentially Cloud's mind breaks and shatters, and you have to have Tifa piece him back together and bring him back, which in and of itself I think is an amazing storytelling beat to show, like, how do you show love in a game with no dialogue? You have her fix a person who is broken, and now he's even stronger than he was before. Gosh dang, man. Like, I'm getting hyped up just thinking about that scene where, like, she's going around to each one of the different Clouds, and it's like, oh yeah, you're doing it, Cloud. You're remembering. That's a detail that nobody else would have known except for you. That's your memory. It's you. And gosh dang it, man. This sticking story is so good.
Hey, there's your major spoiler warning, folks.
Yeah. Whoops.
Like we're talking about Zack right now, and I think this is a really good time to share this because I really wanted to talk about this some more. Because I can't wrap my head around 1995 when they were like starting to work on this or whatever. Maybe they were working on it more prior. I don't know. And how much myth must have been they had access to be able to come up with Sephiroth and Tifa and Aerith because it comes from the Sephiroth, the Kabbalah or whatever. And you can Google this. It's really interesting. The 6th Sephiroth is the Tifereth. And so Tifa and Aerith both come from this Sephiroth, and it means beauty. So, and they just broke it apart, so that solidifies Aerith's name. And Tifa, where they came up with that, because it's like, that's a weird name. And then the 7th Sephiroth is the Net Zack.
Good.
Zack!
Gosh dang it.
Right there! It's right there! Are you kidding me? That's 4 fucking character names out of one fucking piece of thing. Ugh. How the fuck did they do that? So cool.
We talk about this all the time. If you want to get you and I jacked up about a story, think about where storytelling comes from. It's man sitting by a fire telling stories to other groups of men and being like, this is our history, this is our genealogy, this is what made us. And they share those stories with these other cultures, and then that culture shares their story. This game has everything. It's got the the Viking lore of Midgar and all of that stuff, where you've got that as kind of at its core, and then you've got, like you said, sort of that more Eastern methodology and stuff. It's just everything that we want from storytelling, and it's woven into this story that we already cared about as kids. So that means a child can understand what the story is being told about, and then if you're an adult and you're passionate about this stuff, you can go and learn this stuff and absorb that knowledge. And now not only are you learning about Final Fantasy VII, you're learning about like the history of humanity, who we are as a species. And it's like, gosh dang it. They poured everything they had into this story. This is truly a magnum opus of you can't even describe how good it is. It's insane. I love every part of this story.
Well, of course, we have to talk about now. This is the final time we'll tell you to spoiler warning.
Yeah.
Because, okay, if you're still here, get the fuck out. This is it.
We're gonna spoil it.
We're gonna talk about the big boy. Really, the other one was a kind of a big spoiler, but we didn't really.
Yeah.
Kind of beat around the bush there, but this one somehow, if you've managed to avoid one of the biggest spoilers of all times in gaming, then congratulations. But I don't want to be responsible.
Yeah, go on, get.
Okay, you still here?
Okay.
Okay, sit down then. All right. So, fucking Aerith's death scene. What a crazy ass fucking death scene that is. That fucking devastated me. And here's my anecdotal story. And then, you tell me what you think of this. I've told you this a bazillion times. But we're on the way through the story, and we get to that fateful scene, and she dies, and I'm like fucking devastated 11-year-old. And then they throw the fucking Genova fucking rebirth at you, fight, and she hits you with the Aqualung. Dude, Aqualung fucking killed me for like 2 days because I missed the water ring. And so I'm crying. I'm getting fucking drowned. And I'm losing. Fucking sucked, dude. That made that scene 10 times more devastating than it already fucking was to my 11-year-old ass. I still didn't believe she was dead. I was like, what about the Phoenix Down? Have we tried the Phoenix Down team? Have you put it? Okay, she's going in the water. Wait a minute. Maybe we can put the Phoenix Down.
Dude, every single character in this game overcomes grief and loss, and every single character, when it happens to them, when it's their time for their story beat to come up, it breaks my heart. And Aerith's in particular, I think it's because it's the crux of the story. You know what I mean? This is when all hope in the game is lost. Sephiroth, for all intents and purposes, well, Genova, for all intents and purposes, if you want to get really into our in the weeds deep dive, big brain moment, this is when they win. I mean, Aerith was our hope. She was the only one that could defend the planet, and she gets cut down. And not only does she get cut down, it's almost like, again, not to make a Star Wars reference, but she's not even trying to defend herself. She's trying to activate prayer. She's trying to activate the planet's defenses, rally the planet's defenses to stop Meteor, to stop Genova, to stop Sephiroth. And Sephiroth descends down and kills her. And like you said, you just sit there for a second and you're like, no, that can't be what happens. We can't win without her. We can't go on without her. And then, there's kind of that story beat where you let her go, literally, and she sinks to the bottom of the water, and you're just hopeless. There is no coming back from that. I mean, I remember as a kid that breaking my heart and it bringing a tear to my eye. And when we play together as a group, obviously there's some bantering and we kind of make a joke of it and all of that stuff. But I did the exact same thing as an adult playing that on my own when I was playing it. And you just have these emotions well up inside of you. And it's just heartbreaking, man. And there's nothing you can do about it. There's no bringing her back. That's the story. Loss happens. And you have to move on and you have to find a way to win, even when it seems hopeless.
Yeah, shut up, pussy. You ready to go snowboarding?
Okay, yeah. And then you fucking go snowboarding.
You know what kills me is they fucking send your ass down the fucking ramp snowboarding, tears fucking crystallizing as you pop the balloon. I'm having fun, Aaron.
It's the Lord of the Rings. Give them a moment for pity's sake.
Shut the fuck up, Thor, you piece of shit.
Gosh dang it. And you're exactly right. It's like I remember I was so sad. I kept, I set the controller down and my guy was just like doing that thing in video games when like he was bumping into the tree And it was just like the saddest thing in the world because I wasn't touching the controller and he's just walk, 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 and like hitting the trees and getting knocked down. It's just like, I don't care. I don't care about this. I don't want to go snowboarding.
This fucking Cloud with the arms like hanging down. Just, come on, buddy. Gotta suck it up. We gotta get to Northern Crater so you can give the fucking black materia to Sephiroth. Do you know what I realized? Well, from another video, that there's fucking 7 different color materias. 7.
This stinking game. That's why I yelled at that stupid game.
7.
So many hidden 7s in that game,
including the what seems to be hard to get the 777 HP or whatever. Oh. I was going to tell you the scene that devastates me as a dad and as an adult now. When I play through that scene, every time it's the Barrett flashback scene where first he flashes back to like his time and how he lost Dine, his best buddy, and how Dine was Marlene's dad. And then you fucking run around because Barrett's like, I gotta fucking do something. Somebody killing people with a gun arm. I gotta figure out what the fuck that is. And then you find out it's fucking Dine and he lived, but he was stuck in the Corel prison for fucking God knows how long. What, like 7 years? I don't remember how long ago the incident was where Shinra burns down the coal village. But then you confront Dine and he's like, I'm going to fucking kill you, Barrett. Because he's like, I don't know, fucked in the head at this point. And then they have like this gun duel. And then he's like, you win. And then he throws himself off the fucking cliff. And I'm like, what about Marlene, asshole? Hey, wait a minute. I love you. Like Barrett's just like, here's me screaming again. Ah!
Every single character has this. I mean, it literally is. They have this moment that should break them. For all intents and purposes, whatever their core is. You know, you talked about Barrett. What are his 2 tenets? What are the pillars that make up Barrett? He hates Shinra, and he has a daughter, Marlene. And you get to Dine, and you realize both of those things aren't true. You know, he essentially was everything that you know about him is displaced, and it's him building this wall up. And then he finds his friend. His best friend is alive after all of these years. And then he has to watch him fall off that damn mountain again. It's heartbreaking, man. And like you said, you feel for these characters. By the end of the game, this isn't like, okay, you know, in the beginning of the game, you're like, we're gonna beat Shinra because they've done this and this, and they did all these bad things. We're gonna beat Shinra. By the end of the game, you're so broken. You go to fight Sephiroth, and you're just like, our team is decimated. We've all experienced loss. And then there's kind of that rallying cry at the end when Cloud comes back and it's like, okay, now we have the momentum we need. We can go fight. But up to that point, it's like the team is broken. For all intents and purposes, there's a period of this game where you lose. And Cloud is broken and all of the characters are disjointed. You essentially break off into 2 parties. Sid becomes the leader. And it's like, we can't win. We can't win like this. And yeah. The Barrett Dine scene, it gets me as well.
We talked about that, how most of the game feels like we're winning, and then it's like, no, we're not.
Yeah,
we're fucking losing. Like the game does that to you so many times. It's like we bombed 2 reactors, and then we're fucking falling off the fucking cliff, you know?
Yeah.
And then we're fucking beating ass, and then we come back to fucking Sector 7 getting fucking blown up, and you're like, oh shit, are we losing? No, we're winning. Let's go to fucking Midgar. And then we get there and it's fucking Sephiroth's hair and he's fucking chopping people. Sephiroth's hair's here, you motherfucker. And he's actually Genova at that point, you know. That's really we were talking about that earlier.
I was gonna say, should we talk about that? About how we our little head fanning?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Yeah, Sephiroth's not a bad guy, folks. He's actually Ganondorf. Oh no, wait.
You're right. No. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Listen, I honed in on this time playing through, and I swear the game is telling you that Sephiroth is not Sephiroth, that it's Genova. It tells you straight up, Genova becomes your memories. Whatever you have the strongest memory attached to That's what it becomes, and it tortures you with that memory over and over and over again until it takes whatever it wants, which is the entire planet. Cloud is envisioning that it's Sephiroth instead of Jenova, and then he infects everybody else in the party to get them to think that it's Sephiroth. Jenova is Sephiroth, man. It has to be. It can't be Sephiroth. It can't be. I am talking about the real Sephiroth.
There's definitely like throughout the whole game, they're talking about memory and the importance of memory and the importance of like who you are. Every character struggles with who they are, who they really are. And Cloud and Sephiroth, like his moment, which was the coolest fucking thing that ever happens. If you miss it on a playthrough, you got to go back and find the scene where you go back into the Nibelheim Shinra mansion, and there you get to see like Cloud's like memories about what happened. And he like runs in after Zack gets his ass kicked by Sephiroth, picks up the fucking Buster Sword as a regular ass man. No Mako treatments, no Jenova cells in him, runs up and fucking jacks Sephiroth a new one. Sephiroth's like limping off. You fucking piece of shit. This scene fucking, I remember it because I got it as a kid. And like, Zack's like, gosh, Cloud, you gotta go finish off Sephiroth's hair. And Cloud's like, okay, I'll do it. And so he gets the fucking Buster Sword, he goes back out there, and then Sephiroth fucking stabs him and lifts him up, and he's like, don't push your luck, kid, or whatever he says. And then fucking Cloud's like, fucking yeets him, boofs him, get the boop, boop, and boop Sephiroth off the fucking cliff. Okay. By that point, Sephiroth had been like super infused with Jenova cells, but he's still kind of himself, but he's definitely getting like called back to like the reunion. That's the whole like reunion, is all the pieces of Jenova are getting pulled back to the main body. And so when you go to North Crater, where everybody's getting reunionized, including Cloud, by the way, that's why he's pursuing Sephiroth. He's actually just trying to reunite with Jenova because he has Sephiroth cells Jenova cells in him. So he's like chasing after him, but really he's following him to give him the black materia. Here, go, Dad. I ain't your dad. Give me that. Well, he's in the crystallized materia, right? Locked in there with the other parts of Jenova and the weapons and everything. The Cetra like blocked away. They were like, don't open until Christmas, you know. And he hands him the black materia, and that like gives him like the power to get out. But I think that's very much so at that point, Sephiroth's being warped into a Jenova clone. And who knows if Sephiroth is real or not, but in this game and in memories, I think that there is a real Sephiroth, but he's dead and he's in the live stream.
Yeah.
Because he died. And that body that was kept alive was just, there was a lot of Jenova cells in it, and Jenova just like sucked them all into herself. Of course, there's the possibility that Sephiroth's like, he's got a lot of fucking willpower and he's in the live stream and he's willing himself into his body still somehow. I don't know why he would like fucking go crazy and kill everybody, but there's this like old saying that like if you don't show a kid warmth, then he'll burn down the town to feel the warmth of the village. And I feel like that's Sephiroth.
Yeah.
Right? There's that iconic scene where he's like, fucking don't. It's like the fucking Terminator. And you're like, holy shit. That scene was fucking awesome. But yeah, it's Jenova. It's Jenova all the way up. Genova's the one that kills Aerith.
Yeah.
That's the one that comes out of the Shinra building. It takes the form of Sephiroth and manifests the fucking Masamune. Because the real Sephiroth's got like no legs and no arm. And that's where we get the ending scenes. You know, you get the North Crater and you got to fight everybody. And you get Bizarro Sephiroth. What was that anecdote about that? Do you remember that I fucking found?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. What was that?
Hold on. It's in the notes.
Let's find it.
I got it. They think that the translation was wrong and it shouldn't have been Bizarro, because Bizarro just means reverse Sephiroth. And so they think that maybe they mistranslated reverse, and it's not actually was supposed to be reverse. It was supposed to be rebirth Sephiroth. And of course, that plays during the Birth of a God song. You know?
Yeah.
That scene's crazy. And so I was looking at that. I can't remember the fucking anecdote I learned about that with the fucking multi-heads. And I was talking about how Genova has like the multi-heads. And I think that once again, like who was Genova emulating as that female form? Genova synthesis, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. You had it in the notes as sorry. I think I might have skipped ahead about the safer Sephiroth. Is that what you're talking about?
You're good. Yeah. No. Yeah. We can talk about that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was talking about the two-headed things and how Genova's body was like, it was completed with Rebirth Sephiroth.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Safer Sephiroth. I think you were getting ready to say that.
Yeah, which is essentially, the whole idea is that the one-winged angel is that whole motif. That's Genova. That's essentially Genova, infecting Sephiroth, infecting, the life stream, all of that stuff. And so the name, it, like you said, it was also mistranslated. This game is littered with mistranslations. It was a different time back then. They didn't do things the way they do now. And it was originally safer Sephiroth. It was supposed to be Seraph Sephiroth in the correct translation, which, Seraph, obviously angel, all of that stuff. And so, again, it's that same idea of just in a game where you are fed misinformation and then the translation's off or something like that. Those things matter. That completely changes those two versions of Sephiroth, because now we know, okay, Rebirth Sephiroth, which they've named a game after that, Seraph Sephiroth, those things mean different things than what the original translation articulate. And so the entire story is essentially different. So when you presented that information, that completely changed the game for me. I'm all in now. I'm with you. I think Sephiroth, the real Sephiroth, is dead. And everything we are seeing is Genova.
It's got to be, and there's all these, there's so many other people talking about this. And I think that if you think what we're talking about is interesting, you should go out and seek more information from even more studied people. But dude, I wanted to talk some more about Bizarro Sephiroth fight, Rebirth Sephiroth fight, whatever you want to call it. Because it's a boss rush at the end of the game and it's so fucking cool. So depending on how much damage you do to Genova's synthesis and not how much damage you do, but how fast you kill her and how many turns are left, it determines like how fucked Rebirth is or Bizarro. But that fight is so cool. So if you've leveled everybody up equally through the whole fucking playthrough, then you get access to 3 parties for this fight. And I thought that was one of the coolest boss fights ever, where you get to like fucking have, and that was the first time that I experienced a game like that. So the precedent was set fucking high for me. So when you give me these large casts of characters and I only end up using 3 in the final fucking fight, fuck you. You get everybody in the final fight and they're fucking attacking Bizarro Sephiroth from all sides. That's sick. That was so fucking sick, dude. It gives me goosebumps now.
I'm telling you, dude. I talked about this earlier about having that sense of dread and that sense of like, we can't win. When you are doing this boss fight, like if we were playing in real life, or like if we were sitting across from each other, when this fight starts, we would all be standing up. And it would just be, come on, like, it's like, all right, come on now. This team's got to hit him hard, and then you're rotated over to the next team. Okay, we got to get him. I mean, this is just so, like you said, this is the perfect ending to the perfect game where every single one of these different boss fights, for starters, I didn't know that you could get 3 teams. When I was a kid, I had always gotten a max of like 2. And so this is perfect. This is exactly how you said. If you're going to have a cast of characters and all of them are important, it's not just about the main character, then make them a part of the story. And this game did that. It lets you have everybody there. Everybody is working together for this common goal, save the planet, push back against Genova. Gosh dang. It's so good. This game is so good. I love it.
Dude, and Cloud, yeah, he's the main character. We were talking about that back when we were working on some of the stuff for this and how they wanted it to be different from Final Fantasy VI, where there was only one guy that was important. But I still think they did a great job of making each and every character have their spotlight when it mattered. And Cloud's story doesn't end until the end of the game. You know,
Exactly. Yeah.
He doesn't get to close his loop until the final bit. But the next fight, the Safer Sephiroth, Seraph Sephiroth fight, talk about one of the most iconic fights in all RPG history. Like, I've never seen a fight top it. It's so fucking insane. First, the fucking song. Da, 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 da. You know, like, fucking, goddamn, the Sephiroth song. Like, Sephiroth. Holy shit, we still do that to this day. When we're doing, me and my brothers, when we're like pretending to be like really scary, we're like, Sephiroth.
There's a reason that these two characters are tied together, and a game from 1997 is still considered one of the greatest of all time, is because of this scene right here. And you've got it in your notes, and I agree with it entirely, which is, you know, the throwback to that classic artwork and that classic literature of Musashi and Kojiro facing off, and you get these dynamic cuts and scenes. Oh my gosh, man. You want to talk about hype? And, you know, this is the perfect scenario of, you know, the culmination of this game, however many hours you've poured into it, whether it's, you know, you've burned through everything and now you're here in, you know, 40 or 60 hours, or whether you've done everything in the game and you're here in hour 120, it doesn't matter. Everybody gets this scene, and it's the exact same feeling of, we're going to beat this guy's ass. This is it. This is the final fight. And gosh dang, like, being able to whip Sephiroth Genova's ass, whatever you want to call him, it's amazing. It's the best boss fight ever of all time.
Jump slightly ahead. I was still talking about Safer Sephiroth. What I wanted to talk about was his supernova attack.
Oh yeah,
the power scale of the Angel Sephiroth. He's talking about the final part of the boss rush.
I skipped ahead there. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I like what you said, and so like that fucking supernova attack. Talk about like the longest cutscenes that can happen in a fucking fight. If you spent time and grinded the fucking chocobo and got Knights of the Round, and you are casting Knights of the Round and Sephiroth's casting supernova, like, you're gonna be there for fucking 15 minutes for 2 attacks to go off. Like, Sephiroth's like, I'm gonna charge up supernova, and then it like shoots out into the fucking quasars of space. Okay, and the fucking rocket, blam, goes through one planet, blam, goes through Jupiter, fucking puts a hole in it, fucking blam, goes through Mercury, and then hits the fucking sun, and then the sun fucking explodes back the other way, and then it fucking explodes the fucking Earth, and then you take fucking like a shit ton of damage. You're like, holy shit, hope he doesn't do that again the next turn. Fucking supernova. What the fuck, Sephiroth? Stop it!
I think something this game does a really good job of, when it wants to show you that somebody is powerful, or that they're doing something that is extraordinary, this game does an excellent job of that. And like you said, I think if you have Knights of the Round summon, anytime you get into a fight, boss fight, whatever, as soon as it gets to that character's turn, you're spamming that. And you feel invincible when you use it. Like, this is the boss killer. This is the best summon in the game. So of course you're going to use that when you go to fight Sephiroth. And then he has one of his own, and you're sitting there going like, wait a minute, no, he's not supposed to have Knights of the Round, his version of Knights of the Round, and it's a 10-minute cutscene, and now all of a sudden I've got to sit through him. The game is making me sit and wait through his summon? Are you kidding me? Like, it just adds to that feeling of hating Sephiroth even more, hating Genova even more. And you're sitting there going like, what? And like you said, it's just, the cutscene is so ridiculous in what is actually happening, and you're just like, what did I just get hit by? We're just people, Sephiroth. We're just people.
Like, the explanation of the fight is just so outlandish. Like, where the fuck are we? What the fuck is happening? Like, this is insane. We're just like this otherworldly plane fighting a fucking angel or a god or something, and then you fucking beat his ass, and now we're to the part where you're talking about. And I think that you might want to tell us what happens. There's a limit break that you can't get. Well, you can get it. You can get it if you spend a bunch of time grinding gold saucer before you go. But I didn't do this the first time I played the game. I think I had the Knights of the Round the first time I beat it, but I didn't have this.
Yeah.
But dude, this scene.
So
like fucking tell me about this scene, bro.
So this is Omni Slash. This is the greatest limit break. Dude, Cloud just starts going absolutely nuts on Sephiroth. And it's just like I'm going to automatopoeia here a little bit, but it's the entire thing is just like smashing Sephiroth over and over and over and over again with these strikes. And it's just like, you know, if you've grinded your characters and it's just 99999999999, it's like, oh, look at this damage. We're beating his ass. Dude, it's so cool. And it's one of the most iconic things. You know, obviously every version, the one that I think of all of the time is the one from Advent Children, where he's got that super buster sword that folds out into all those swords, and he uses each one in the attack. Dude, I'm telling you, this fight is the perfect culmination of like, I win. And you just feel so cool during this fight. You're like, Sephiroth is this all-powerful being, and you show up and you get this ability, and it's just like, yeah, take that. Like, what are you gonna do now?
Dude, I just love your fucking onomatopoeia. Mine's always coding slash, coding slash. but fucking, dude, it's so crazy. That scene is insane. It's like, dude, there's another fight. I'm exhausted. Yeah. Are you kidding? And then it's like Sephiroth's shirtless. I'm like, what are we going to do? Slap each other to death, brother? We got nothing left. And it's like, and you got the limit break. You're like, oh, shit. I got a limit break. What's that say? Omni Slash. If you don't push that fucking button, have you ever not pushed the button?
No.
To see what happens?
No, I've never did.
Sephiroth slashes you, and then Cloud counterattacks with a single attack and kills him. And that's it. You can fuck your ending if you don't fucking click really fucking Omni Slash immediately. We tried it. We beat it so many times when I was a kid. So I know that. But so I was reading another story today. I've read so much about Final Fantasy in the last fucking month or so, I feel like, on Reddit and all over the place. And this guy's like, I looked ahead on the guide and it said if you wait too long, then you won't do it. And I didn't think it would be that short. It's fast, folks. You push that button when Omni Slash comes up.
Do you know how many seconds you have?
You don't get to see fucking... It's 7.
It's 7.
7.
It's 7
You're right.
seconds.
It is. He's right, folks.
God damn this game. It's so fucking cool.
Dude, we're nearing time here, and I wanted to talk about the last bit because the outro is so crazy, and that cutscene is just insane. Like the Aerith reach down and stuff, and then like see Meteor still like gonna hit the planet, and then the Hope gets released, but it helps the fucking Meteor, and it's not until the live stream comes out to like, you know, Aerith's spirits like is released, and then she helps the live stream, you know, block Meteor or whatever. But you're left on that cliffhanger until you get the 500 years later scene with fucking your boy, Red 13. Dude, like that scene is so crazy. But the main thing that I wanted to bring up, which I didn't capture it in any kind of footage or anything like that, but after you beat the game, you infinitely go into space. And that's the whole like idea of the Sephiroth is like infinity and stuff. And so I was just like, whoa. But that fucking shocked the shit out of me as a kid. Like that was just the end. We didn't get any like fucking everybody's hugging each other. You get the cake and thank you so much and fucking playing a game, Mario, you know, like.
I love that.
What?
One of the things.
It's like fucking mind blowing.
One of the things that drives me nuts. And maybe this is because of who I am as a person. I don't know. Like what we did, genuinely think about what happened through the course of this game. You are just regular people. And by the end of the game, you're fighting literal gods of the universe and winning. Like you shouldn't have a sequence where it's like everybody's back at seventh heaven and, clinking glasses, and it's like, good job, team. We're going to go on and live the rest of our lives. Like, no, what we just did was so, like what you said, exhausting. We literally just beat this demonic presence that was floating through space. That's the end of the game. There shouldn't be anything else. There shouldn't be anything after that. This is showing Red running through, and it's like 500 years later, and it's like the Earth is taking back the planet, essentially taking back itself. Good. And like you said, it just goes on for infinity and all of that stuff. I love that ending. That idea of that's what we were fighting for. The whole point of the game was fighting for that freedom, for that peace, for the world to take itself back. And obviously Red is still there, and he's got the little pups running with him, and then they get and look at Midgar, and it's got the grass all overgrown, and the vegetation has overtaken the thing. Good. Like one of the things that is a huge focal point of this game is that there is a literal ring around Midgar where everything is dead. That Midgar is sucking the life out of the planet and using it to turn on a light switch. We don't deserve that. We don't deserve that ending. It's I'm going off the rails here now because I love this game, man. It's so good, and the ending just obviously what it is it's amazing. It's a perfect game.
I think they want you to kind of interpret your own ending because it's a really big piece. There's a lot of emotions.
Yeah.
Maybe they ran out of time to tell the ending that they really wanted to tell. I'm not sure. But I really love this kind of ending. I'd never been presented with an ending like that as a kid. And to this day, I still think about it and think about like what it means to me. I was thinking about, I didn't get a say. It was about Red 13. Here at the end of the episode, the reason he calls himself Red 13 is because he doesn't love himself. He doesn't know himself. And it's not until he has the Seto scene that he accepts himself as Nanaki. And I just like, why don't we get a moment to like be able to rename ourselves at that point in the game? Because that's like his like, oh, I know who I am. But like so many characters have that moment through the whole game. But even that, like we're trying to end the episode here. We could talk for fucking ever about this probably.
Yep.
Well, we probably won't revisit this for the next episode. We would like to, but we'll move on to other topics. Is there anything that you want to leave the folks at home with?
I genuinely think, I've had this rant before. I'm going to get on my soapbox one last time. I genuinely think this is one of the rare instances where, in order to fully appreciate this game, I think you should find a way to get a physical copy of this game and play it. Whatever system you have, whatever way that you have of playing games, have a physical copy of this game, play it, and then keep that copy of the game for the rest of your gaming career and just have it. Because I think this is genuinely one of the greatest games of all time, and it deserves a place alongside of not just games, but storytelling, and so that would be my call to action, would be go on eBay, go to your local game shop, see if you can find a copy of it for, $15, $20, whatever it may be, and just purchase a copy and play it. That would be my ideal call to action.
I also, that guy's Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah. All right. See ya.
I thought that would make you laugh. What the hell? No, listen. And then after you play it, read a bunch of shit. Okay, that's it.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay.
All
We're
right.
walking him out to the car. Get out of here.
Yeah. Final Fantasy VII, folks. Yeah, see you next time. So,
see ya.